Today's thrilling episode is brought to you in part by Mama Lillian's lovely leafy meatloaf, peas, and joy. It's a brand new year, and with it comes a brand new Chinese New Year event for Don't Starve Together, 2026's Year of the Clockwork Night. And unlike some of the previous years, this one's got some substantial new content to sink your little teeth into. From some deadly new night followers, cool new items to horse around with, get it? A new luck system that has some insane farming potential, and the thing that got me interested the most, massive quality of life changes to the Clockwork Trio. The Knight and Rook receive some hitbox adjustments, the former being pretty much identical, with the latter no longer insta-giving his teammates and having its charge cover less ground. And the Bishop was heavily reworked, going from a long-range sniper that caused you to audibly groan whenever you had to tank and spank, to shooting out a short-range projectile that's easily telegraphed and only targets the ground, though it's still pretty deadly if it manages to hit you. And if that wasn't amazing enough, Clockworks can now be tamed too! By hitting them with an electric weapon and then repairing them with gears. They'll then become your loyal minions, eternally loyal and reprogrammed to terminate anything that looks at you sideways. But the biggest change of all, the cherry on top of the chocolate chip sundae, Clockworks can now be summoned on full moons by hammering their respective statues, allowing you to grow your very own Clockwork army. So today, I'll be doing just that. Building up my own militia of robotic warriors to reign over all the flora and fauna the continent has to offer. So come along, and I'll show you what's up. Autumn, the calm fall season that marks the beginning of every new DST playthrough. Slowly collecting resources, learning new recipes, and exploring the map of an unfamiliar world. But before I add more intriguing commentary to the first few days, I should probably go over the game plan first. In order to get my Clockwork army up and running, I'll first need to collect their figure sketches and place them in a potter's wheel. And in order to do that, I'll need to find the suspicious marble pieces, which are randomly scattered across the map, carry them to this specific set piece, and then mine the fully constructed statues on a full moon. However, carrying the pieces on your own is incredibly slow. And with me trying to assemble an army ASAP, it'd be like trying to fight Deerclops as West with an inventory filled with bug nets. A big waste of time. So, in order to speed it up, I'll need to find and tame a beefalo, as riding the smelly beast while carrying the pieces completely removes the speed penalty. Once the sketches have been acquired, I'll then build the statues and hammer them on the next full moon, which takes about 20 in-game days, or 3 real-life hours. Not ideal when it comes to a rush. However, there's one character that can completely bypass this time requirement, and it's my favorite old librarian, Wickerbottom. By reading her Lunar Grimoire book, it allows any night to become a full moon night, allowing me to summon more Clockworks pretty much whenever. So, with the game plan spread out, we can finally begin diving into the run. Cutting back to our lovely librarian, we've just entered the rocky portion of the mosaic biome and are cracking open rocks like walnuts for their sweet, succulent minerals. Normally, I'd use the gold, rocks, and a few logs to craft some items at a science machine, but with Wickerbottom being a super genius, I'm able to craft backpacks, spears, and whatever else found at the station without having to place one down. Instead, I spend the day collecting resources for future structures, as well as scouting the area for any of the marble pieces. And, as luck would have it, I end up finding one on the first day, right next to a sinkhole. After collecting light bulbs from the deep, dank caverns below, I started day 2 by crafting a shovel and digging up graves. as under one of these headstones lies the chance of getting a red gem, which can then be used in the creation of one of Wickerbottom's books, The End Is Nigh. See, one of the main ingredients of the Morning Star, Volcoat Horn, only has a 25% chance of dropping, and from past experiences, RNG tends to not be on my side. So, if I couldn't get my hands on a horn, I'd instead use the power of the book and rain down lightning in order to stun Clockworks. After defiling 8 graves and getting a spot saved for me in hell, I managed to snag myself a beautiful red gem. From there, I exited the Mosaic biome and entered a Wicker and Warp Main's paradise, the Swamp! Wow, a place filled with giant purple tentacles, hungry mosquitoes the size of house cats, and fishmen who smell as bad as the average Smash Brothers tourney might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you hear paradise. But for Wickerbottom, it contains the most precious resource essential to our kit, reeds! With a handful of cuttings from 8 Junsei, Junakai, how do you pronounce that?
Juncacia graminoids.
Ah, thanks. They can be refined into 2 sheets of papyrus, which can then be used to create a wide variety of literature. Books that can stop rainstorms, create endless supplies of food, summon god rays from the heavens above, and books that are the equivalent of telling your friend about the dream you had last night. And as I was trying to get away from this broken wood mannequin covered in mold, it was projecting visual hallucinations into my mind that As I was exploring the Purple Marsh, I came across a touchstone, and seeing the 4 offerings made to the beast, I hammered them down, using the pigskin they dropped to make a football helmet for protection, as well as the light bulbs from the caves to make a lantern for extra light. I wanted to make a handbat too, a solid melee weapon with great damage and infinite durability, but I wasn't able to snag any raw meat from the Mosaic biome, a key ingredient for the weapon. So I went on. Leaving the swamp and passing through a spider quarry, a rocky biome infested with spiders, I managed to come across a dirt pile. When investigated, they'll reveal a footprint that, if followed for long enough, will lead you to a large beast, which in this case was a koalefant. They're a bit tricky to hunt as they like to run away from you, but can easily get stuck by bringing them to an edge. After a long and arduous battle, the koalefant was slain, and for my hard work, I was rewarded with 8 pieces of raw meat and a truck that provides great healing when cooked. Instead of placing down another science machine to make the bat of ham, I instead decided to make use of one of Wickerbottom's books, the Everything Encyclopedia, as when read, will allow me to craft items 1 research tier higher than my own. And with the flick of a page, I finally had a handbat to call my own. Before heading into the next biome, I decided to do a little bit of prep work in order to make a boomerang. See, the next biome up ahead is the Oasis Desert, the place where the Volcoats needed for the Morningstar roam. While I can get them stuck like the koalefants if I get too close, to save me some time, I'd instead use a boomerang in order to aggro them towards me. With 1 silk, 1 piece of charcoal, and a single board, the weapon from Down Under can be made. While waiting for a tree to burn, I passed the time by reading my book an additional 2 times, allowing me to make both weapons when I get the resources, though this does do a number on my sanity. With my new toy in hand, I aggro the nearest Volcoat, and, as RNGesus blesses me from the heavens above, I get the horn on the very first kill. After collecting some niter from the nearest boulder, I combine it with 2 electrical doodads and the horn to create the Morning Star. As I wandered around the desert, I noticed 2 Clockworks resting on a marble set piece, a knight and a bishop, and seizing the opportunity, zapped them with my Morning Star and allied them with the gears I acquired from grave robbing. Yep, that spot in hell is looking awfully warm. Each unit is pretty tanky, boasting 900 health, with each piece attacking in different ways. The knight gets in close with a headbutt, dealing 40 damage, while the bishop attacks from range, shooting an electric ball that deals 60 damage in a small AoE. Unfortunately, I'd end up losing the former after leaving the swamp. I'm not exactly sure what happened back there, but my guess is that they either got disassembled by a tentacle or a group of nearby merms. As we moved through the next desert, we came across 2 more marble set pieces, one housing a rook and the other 2 more bishops. The rook attacks by charging at its enemies head-on, dealing 45 damage to players and a staggering 90 damage to any mob that gets in its way. With the help of my bishop's electro ball, I disable the 3 clockworks and add them to my ever-growing army. After spending 5 days exploring the surface, I finally managed to find a herd of beefalo. Placing down a science machine, I used my gold, pigskin, and some beefalo wool shaved directly from the source to make me a saddle. After dealing with some pesky spiders and pigs, I fed my new smelly friend some petals, hopped on his back, and got back to exploring. With beefalos providing a 66% speed boost while mounted, they'll make finding the remaining pieces a breeze. As we charted through the forest, we happened to come across a totally normal tree, and aside from calling a massive disgrace from this world, I would need the living logs it dropped to make Wickerbottom's bookcase, a structure that passively restores her book's durability, as well as providing even more book recipes. Not long after that, we come across another clockwork rug, as well as the second marble piece, the bishop head. 2 down, only 1 more to go. Circling back to my science machine, I burned down a nearby tree, chopped down its charred remains, and used the charcoal along with a jet feather to make a feather pencil for the aforementioned bookcase. On day 6, we end up finding the location where the marble pieces must be assembled on a full moon. After a pretty uneventful string of events on day 7, I managed to stumble across a small pig village on the night of the same day. With me being pretty low on pigskin, this was a great find this early on in the playthrough. And while they normally don't have a problem when you smash down their houses, the same can't be said when you've got a small army of robotic warriors on your side, as despite being followers, clockworks are still seen as hostile mobs to pigmen. So, as day breaks, I see 5 pigs making a beeline straight towards my clockworks. And while I commend their bravery, there's only so much 2 little hooves can do against massive balls of electricity. After that minor setback, I get back to pulverizing the porcine provinces and pocketing the pitched products. On day 9, I stumble upon a conspicuous chest, which, while not containing much of note, houses the terrarium, an item that summons a raid boss during the night. While I don't have time to fight it just yet, it'd be the perfect target to show off my army's strength in the future. Day 9 also marked the day where I fully outlined the map. The last thing to do now is to find the rook nose and begin moving the pieces. However, after exploring nearby biomes with my limited time, I wasn't able to locate the last remaining piece. While this was a bit upsetting, I actually don't need to bring all 3 together in order to summon them. And if I'm being honest, the 9 and the bishop are the only pieces I truly care about. The former for farming gears, and the latter for, well, all of these reasons. On the latter end of day 10, I carried the bishop head over to the set piece and did the same for the knight head on the early morning of day 11. Once they were placed down, I got to work breaking down 2 marble sculptures and socketing the pieces into their new forms. From there, I killed some time waiting for the full moon by playing some Bellatra with Jimbo, and even won with a score of 752. Though I feel like I should have gotten more than a few cards and 2 gold nuggets. After accidentally attacking one of my rooks, I cracked open the assembled statues, shocked them with my Morning Star, and allied them with gears, which was such a commendable act that my minions stopped attacking each other. Most importantly, I grabbed the figure sketches needed to create more of these powerful machines. With the summoning complete, I felt it was high time to start setting down and building a base, and the location I had my eyes on was the Oasis Desert, due to its abundant cactus plants, wide open space, proximity to the swamp, as well as complete wildfire immunity during the summer. However, before I began building, I decided to take a small detour inside the spider quarry and stomp out those 8-legged freaks. Not only would their monster meat, silk, and spider glands help me create food, clothing, and healing when I settled down, but would also show me just how powerful my army has become. And with them taking down 3 fully grown nests in no time at all, I knew they were definitely getting up there. After that small diversion, I burned down trees for charcoal, set down floorboards, and placed down some crucial structures like a science machine, crop pots, and a mini fridge. While it's not much, it'll definitely get the job done for now. After everything was set up, I cooked my raw meat on the fire, put them together with monster meat in a crock pot, and ended the day by making some delicious pots of meaty stew. That's going to have to cut it for today's video. With the figure sketches in my grasp, all that's left to do now is to explore the caves and ocean for the ingredients needed for the Lunar Grimoire. While things seem pretty slow now, they're bound to pick up fast in the next video. So, if you want to be there when it arrives, please like this video and subscribe, and we'll see how my army continues to develop. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all had a fantastic time doing so.